Greetings and peace, family. My name is Tiffany, and this is my first video on YouTube. I'm definitely excited to be bringing, myself to this platform just to express myself more, get more information out about African spirituality, and just to, come in contact with souls that's like me, just genuine, chosen ones that's just out here trying to help people just like I am. This first video is just going to be about my spiritual journey and just all of my spiritual experiences from the beginning up until this point. So let's get into it. Let me just take a little sip of my tea. Yes. Okay. Y'all like my mug? It's cute, ain't it? First off, let me just start by saying that this video is for the ones that's already currently on their journey, the ones that's not even aware of this information, or starting a spiritual journey, and also the ones that's just needing uplifting right now, or possibly has been through some of the things that I mentioned in this video, or could resonate with anything that I've been through, and it could possibly uplift someone or help somebody. Also, I want to say, if you are interested in learning more about African spirituality, definitely don't let society's views or people's opinions steer you away from it. If your heart and your soul is pulling you towards something, just do what you want, do what makes you happy. I feel like our spiritual journey start from, even before the womb. Our spiritual journeys go back to different timelines and different lifetimes. It's like, we're infinite beings, so it's like, can't really put a time step on it. And plus, it's not really a such thing as time in the spiritual realm. So let's just hop right into it. We're going to start this, we're going to start my story about my journey. We're going to start it off when I got pregnant with my twins in 2018. I had twin boys. But basically, I feel like my spiritual journey started at that point, because I feel like period, just any first time moms or fathers, like that's a big thing, just having children, period. But I felt like it just changed me spiritually, and I connected with new souls that were coming straight for me. But it's like I was basically tapping into their energy, and I was tapping into my energy on a whole nother level. And basically I just developed a new way of thinking, just having my babies. But I also had, and I know a lot of women experience this during pregnancy, vivid dreams. But they were like crazy vivid, and I was having them so often. And yeah, it was just vivid dreams that was just like so lifelike, and things that I just couldn't explain, but they were back to back to back, and I never dreamed like that ever in my life. And also, I feel like my pregnancy brought me a little closer to spirituality as well, because, and I didn't even realize it because I was still kind of, asleep at this point. So I was definitely, diving into my family lineage and just wanted to know more about my great-grandparents and, just ancestors and family members that I didn't really get to meet physically or come in contact with. But yes, so my pregnancy, I definitely grew a spiritual bond with my babies, and I wasn't even aware of it at the time. And also, I feel like my pregnancy shaped me into the woman that I am now and the spiritual being that I am now. Of course, every situation has good and bad moments. So possibly the cons of my pregnancy is like I had a lot of complications from the beginning leading up until, going into my C-section. It was complications. My pregnancy was very hard, just physically, mentally, emotionally, but I mainly just tried to keep myself at a positive mind state because of, my babies. I was thinking of their health, their well-being. So that's definitely what kept me going, just the love that I had for my babies. But looking back at my pregnancy, I definitely wish that I had more support emotionally, physically, and mentally, because I definitely needed it. Because I was going through so many new things that I never experienced, and I wasn't just bringing one baby into the world, like I was bringing two. So, and I was also going through heartbreak as well. I wasn't with the father of my children during my pregnancy and even afterwards, but mainly throughout my pregnancy, it was just a lot on me because I needed a lot more support, not just from family, friends, but from him especially. And also just keep in mind that I do not have any hard feelings towards anybody. I'm just telling my story, and that's a part of my story. I have an emergency C-section because I developed preeclampsia, I had high blood pressure. It was a lot of complications. So yeah, I had to go into an emergency C-section closer to the date of when I was supposed to have my babies and my scheduled C-section and everything like that. I was just having a lot of problems with the job I had at that time, so it was just a lot because after I had my babies, they had to stay in the hospital for a whole month because of complications and because they were so small. One of my babies was 3 pounds 5 ounces and the other one was 4 pounds 1 ounce. So they had to stay there for a month to, you know, develop and grow more. So it was definitely hard for me to just basically leave my babies at the hospital like for a whole month and just prepare all this time for my babies to come, and then I had to go back home and like, you know, without them, and I'm just sitting in a room full of baby stuff like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like, so I feel like at that moment it was probably the start of my depression, because I was just lost without my babies at that time. It was definitely turned around and my babies ended up coming home. I was definitely pumping like every hour, every 2 hours, just to go up to the hospital every day to bring my babies milk so they could get chunky and fat just to come home to mama. So I was so happy about that, and that definitely uplifted me a little bit. Also, well, I thought I was coming out of my depression because I found a new job like 3 months after I had my babies, and it was like, I loved that job. Like, it was a really good job and it had good pay and the environment was cool. So I was happy about that. But a few months into that job, my babies started having complications with their hernias. They both had hernias. So they both had to go into surgery, one around Mother's Day and the other around Father's Day. But basically, I spent my Mother's Day weekend, my Father's Day weekend in the hospital with both of my babies at different times because they had to get surgery for their hernias. But during that time, I missed a lot of time from my new job as well. And I had only been there for a little bit of time, so they weren't really understanding of that. A situation at my job to where, you know, I found out basically that, you know, the father of my children, like his new baby mother was currently working with me at the new job. So it was just a lot of mess. It was a lot of mess. It was a lot of people talking about my life and business and rumors and probably even things that wasn't accurate or anything like that. But the energy, it changed quickly. Like once that situation was just spread all across the company, I was humiliated, and basically I fell back into depression, and I didn't feel the urge to go back into work. I didn't care about the days that I missed or anything like that, or making up the days. Like, I was just pretty much just over it and just in a dark hole at that point. Shortly after I lost my job, unfortunately, me and my family had to move from the apartment that we was at. And it was a very toxic environment. We were really fed up with the building that we stayed in and everything like that. So it was kind of like a, you know, it is what it is kind of moment, but it was still like a tough hit because it was like, man, like we already going through so much right now. After that, I ended up moving back to the west side of Chicago. And at that point, I kind of just fell even deeper into my depression, because once we got out here, you know, I immediately got to trying to find a job and just, you know, trying to keep the bills paid, trying to keep things handled for my babies that needed to be handled. But all the stress and just the pressure I was putting on myself, it was just backfiring. And it was just sending me deeper into a hole of depression that I was already in. But just me having criticism from people around me and people just making me feel bad about not working at that point in time also didn't help as well. So and also the family that I was staying with, it's pretty much a toxic environment. It was just all around just a lot for me at that moment. So in December of 2019, I actually attempted suicide. After I attempted, I had to spend 2 to 3 weeks in a mental institution. And during that time, it was just a lot of therapy that I had to go through. And definitely just finding myself again. I basically felt like it was basically like a rebirth of myself. Being in that institution, I just found a new way of thinking, a new way of handling my problems. But also I found support that I didn't have in the real world, that I didn't have around me every day or any moment when I was going through something or needed to vent. I didn't have that. So once I found that there, unfortunately, I had to find it. It was kind of like, I don't know, it kind of just flipped a switch in my brain. I also found meditation there, and I never even heard of meditation or tried it before. So once it was introduced to me there, and I noticed how much I was, liking it and how much it calmed me, how much it helped me cope with things, then I was like, okay, I gotta take this back with me. So then January 2020 comes around, and I'm still unaware, but spirit is basically like guiding me. Your soul, like literally your soul will guide you to where your purpose is, where you're supposed to be headed in life. Like, and I didn't even know my soul was doing that. I didn't think I had a calling. I didn't think I had a purpose or anything like that. So once I got that pull, once I got that switch flicked in my head, it was just go at that point. It was like tunnel vision. But basically, I just stepped into the new year 2020 with just a new way of thinking, determination. And at that time, I was focused on becoming a well-known makeup artist, just getting my name out there, getting my work out there. So that's exactly what I started working on, my craft, just bettering my skills. With my spiritual journey, I actually started with meditation. And then once January came around, I started, learning more about affirmations, manifestation, and just meditating the proper way, basically. After a few months of me, working towards my makeup career and everything like that, things were definitely, it was steady. I can't say that it was like, it definitely didn't give me the feeling that I have now. But then I thought that was my passion. So I was just focused on just getting my work out there and just getting as many clients as I could. A few months later, June 2020 comes around. And basically that was like my spiritual experience. A friend of mine basically had called me, and he was supposed to be coming to meet me or whatever that night. And it was just a regular phone conversation. Like, okay, when I come from here, I'm gonna come, stop over there, blah, 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 all of that. So once he hangs up, like 15 minutes go by, and I'm just sitting there, chilling in my little vanity area and just listening to music, vibing to it. And then it's like something just hit me all of a sudden. Like, it's like I just had an epiphany out of nowhere or something. But basically, like how I started having my downloads, words would just randomly just pop in my head. So the word shooting and the person I was talking to on the phone popped in my head. Their name popped in my head. So in that moment, like, and as that information was coming to my head, tears just started to roll down my face. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this feeling is. I don't know what just came over me, but I'm going to just go ahead and pray. Basically, after I did that little prayer, 10 minutes later, he ended up calling back and was telling me that he was in the shooting and a person unfortunately passed, and he was next to the person that had got shot, and he could have got shot himself. But it was just mind-blowing that that information came to me before he called me back and gave me that information. More time goes by. September 2020 rolls around, and I get my first reading from a reader. And y'all understand what I'm saying, reader. Y'all will get it. Y'all will get it. It got the wheels turning in my head. It had me thinking like, okay, maybe my purpose is way bigger than what I'm thinking it should be. Maybe I should be doing way more work than I'm doing right now. Like, it just had me asking questions that I should have been asking myself a long time ago, and it had me just diving into things and just being more curious and being more open-minded. Like, she was referring to me as like her special client and stuff like that, and was basically letting me know that, you know, like, I'm destined to be doing something else, not my makeup career that I was currently doing. So I was like kind of taken aback by all of that information and everything, but you know, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take that information and I'm definitely keep it into consideration, and you know, just keep doing what I've been doing as far as my spiritual journey. December 2020, I just had this feeling like I wasn't doing as much as I should be doing. So I went back to the reader and asked, should I be doing more? And she definitely, you know, let me know that I should be doing more and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, after that, like, it's like my soul just got kicked into gear. Like, okay, it's time to get to work. It's time to get to the things that you should have been doing. I just started studying African spirituality more. I started setting up my altar, and honestly, I kind of already had it set up. I didn't even know that I was setting up an altar, but Spirit was pretty much already just leading me to getting that set up. So once I actually looked into how to set up your altar and everything, it was pretty much just, it was easy. And then I also had my first encounter with ancestors. But now that I look back at that encounter, I know now that I was seeing my higher self. So basically, I was just, you know, going into meditation like I usually do, but it was different. Like, I was visualizing my higher self through my third eye, and the energy was just different that time. Divine version of me, the highest self of me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, that was like a big part of my awakening. I don't think that was the start of my awakening, but it definitely was like baby steps leading up to my awakening. But I also started experiencing outside attacks as well. Like, I was being like physically attacked by people that was living in this toxic environment with me that I lived in now. I even just posted a status on Facebook, and a family member got so mad, so offended, that I was voicing my opinion about my life as a grown woman, that she pulled up and, you know, unfortunately left with a black eye. But you know, those were the type of attacks I was experiencing. And it was just crazy because at that time when I was going through it, I was like, I'm just staying to myself. Like, I'm just trying to, you know, heal myself. Like, even before I started on my spiritual journey, like, I've always just been a person that just naturally stayed to themselves. Not like I'm antisocial or anything, but that's just how I am. I'm just soft-spoken, just naturally caring, you know, just laid back type of girls. I was just baffled. And plus at the time as well, like, it was issues with my car as well. So I'm like, okay, this is crazy. But it was now looking back on it, it makes sense. Like, I was getting deeper into my journey, and it's like, you know, some things, they gotta fall apart before they get better. And some things, like, you just gotta go through obstacles and challenges just to see that some things not meant for you, some people not meant for you, just for you to be able to move on into what's your purpose and what's meant for you. So the next month in January, and this was this year, 2021, and this is where all my spiritual experiences just started pouring in. January 2021, I basically met Eshu for the first time, and it was in Food for Less, and it was so shocking. But basically, you know, I was doing my shopping, getting some groceries and stuff like that, and I left my cart for like 2 minutes, and the lines are always so long because the store is always packed. So I just left my cart in line, and I was like, all right, let me just hurry up and run to this shelf, grab something, and scoot right back, you know? As I'm coming back to my cart, it's an old man there, and he's like looking around and stuff like that. But it's so crazy because it's like, as soon as I hit the corner, it's like my soul knew that he was looking for me or something like that. So it's like, as I was walking up, I'm like, is he looking for me? Like, is he like, whose car is this? And he like, this your car? And I'm like, yeah. And as soon as I got back to my car, you know, I just started, you know, looking at my phone and stuff like that, just to, you know, just for the time to pass while I was waiting in line. So as I'm looking at my phone, he said something to me. I kind of was not listening. I ain't gonna lie, I was not listening. So I don't know what this man just said. So let me just smile, nod, and look back at my phone. But then he caught my attention when he started talking about the vaccine. And I think that was even like around the time when they first started like talking about the vaccine or getting the vaccine out or something like that. I was just shocked at how this old man was telling me how he's just so against the vaccine. And it's like everybody in the world is freaking out about COVID. And literally at that time too, like I was picking up on energy and I didn't even know, and I just didn't feel right about the vaccine. So I was just like, no, I'm not taking it. Like, so when he was like talking to me about that, I'm like, what? Like, I was excited to talk to him at that point. Because everybody else was just jumping for the vaccine, and I was like, what the hell? Like, this is crazy. So he's just sitting there talking to me, and I can't even remember a lot of the things that he was saying, but it wasn't in a mundane conversation. Like, it's like I could feel the conversation. Like, I don't know, it's so weird, y'all. It's like I was picking up on his energy at the same time of him talking to me. It's like he was telepathically talking to me while physically talking to me, and like it was just a lot of energy, a lot of things going on that I was just stuck, just listening to him, just taking in all the information. And it wasn't like I looked at the man and I like looked at his face or anything like that, or it was like, oh, he looks like Eshu or anything like that. But it's like as soon as I looked into his eyes, it was like instant like gravitation. It was like a pull, and it's like he sent me like a message in my mind, like, yeah, it's me, like, don't freak out in front of these people or something like that, like, just listen. Like, once I got to the line, he was already like walking out of the store. Well, once I was getting my items checked out, he was already walking out of the store. So I'm like, oh my god, let me hurry up, put my items in here, because I at least want to tell him bye or something. Like, I gotta find this old man, I gotta find him. He was just waiting on me to come out there. Like, it's so crazy. Like, I was walking out the door, and he was just sitting there with his cart and getting his bags out. And I was like, blessings to you. And he just told me the same. He was like, got a lot to think about now, huh? And I was like, it was just crazy. I'm like, how you know? Hurried up and went to my car, and I only had a few bags, so I hurried up, threw them in the car, and I'm like, if this man disappeared, literally, like, he looks like he was like 60 or 70 something years old, and he grabbed a cart full of bags and started trucking it down the street. And I'm like, oh my god, let me hurry up, start my car up, and hop in this car, and just, I don't know. So I just hopped in the car and like drove down towards where he was, and it was literally like 30 seconds after I just looked at him taking the bags out the cart. And it was like he had to walk all the way down the street. So I'm like, this man, he can't walk that fast. When I got down there, y'all, he was gone. But like, he was gone, y'all. I was like, dang. Well, confirmation. And going into February of 2021, I had my first reading by a shamanic priestess. That was like, oh my god, that was like the best reading I ever had. But So yes, I had my first reading with the actual priestess, and she basically like gave me like the full list of my spirit cord, the spirit guides and ancestors and orishas that watch over me closely. So that was really cool to be able to get that. And she also told me like she read into a lot of things that was currently going on in my life, for sure, for sure. And then she told me about the career change, and she told me about my change of interest, and then she told me that this was my awakening year. And I'm like, huh, okay, well, I'm already on a good start. Well, that's good to know. But I didn't know like the magnitude of what that meant until I got deeper into my journey. After that reading, basically like I just felt even more closer. The connection was just even more stronger, and yeah, I basically got more into my studies, got more into connecting with my ancestors and spirit guides and orishas, and you know, just started building the bond. And also that looked like I was letting my spirituality shine through my makeup, and I was still doing makeup at that point, thinking that that was going to be my career, my passion. So I did a Yemaya look. And that month, I also started shadow work, which is basically self-healing. And shadow work can come in a lot of different forms. But for specifically for me, how I did my shadow work was through journaling, and also just through meditation, like literally, like facing my shadow self and having those deep talks and healing deep wounds and all of that. February also took my first trip, and in that first trip, like that was, look, it's an experience for sure, for sure. Like, I mean, I just felt the world in a brand new perspective, and I even like had another spiritual experience. So basically, like I was just sitting there looking at her, and basically I started to see her aura, and yeah, I was able to describe it to her and things like that. And even after, you know, we looked up like the meaning of her aura color and stuff like that, like it resonated with her. So it was pretty cool that I was able to do that for her. March came around and I actually did the big chop. And it's so crazy, y'all, because I've had my hair permed since I was a little girl, and I had my hair natural like in my early 20s for like a year or two, and I was so aggravated with my natural hair that I just gave up and ended up permanent. But something, like literally it was spirit pulling me to cutting all my hair off, because it was just random, like, and it was just out of nowhere. Like, I promised myself, like, I was so irritated with my natural hair the first time that I was like, you know what, F it, I just gotta keep it permed. I just can't deal with my natural hair. I can't do it. But something just was like, you know what, stop permanent, let your natural hair grow in, and you're gonna cut it. So that's what I did. I also had the first meet with the reader that gave me my first initial reading. So not only was she, you know, just my spiritual reader, but we ended up building a bond, and we were friends for a little bit. So she actually ended up messaging me, and that's how we met the first time. Not like actual like, oh, let's hang out or kick it, anything like that, but it was like, you know, she needed her makeup done for her birthday, so she ended up booking me last minute. So I did her makeup. She loved it. She was having a little problems with I guess she needed a few items or something like that for her birthday night. So I was like, you know what, I ain't got nothing else to do. Like, I'll take you to whatever other stores you gotta go to and stuff like that. Even while we was at the stores, you know, I bought her a little birthday gift and all of that, because, you know, she was kind of venting to me about a few things that was going on in her life, and I was venting too, and we kind of, you know, built the bond. So, you know, I'm just a naturally just sweet person like that. Like, so yeah. And after that, I hit her up, you know, about my birthday weekend. That was, yeah, the next big thing that happened. So yeah, my birthday weekend. So yeah, my friends, you know, I booked a room for my birthday and everything like that, and it came and decorated it and went out to the restaurant with me and stuff like that. Basically, it was company. But my best friends was there, but they ended up leaving the night of my birthday. So it didn't go exactly how I planned it, you know, well, how I wanted it to go. So I was pretty much there for like, I was there by myself most of the time. But the last night that I was there for my birthday weekend at the hotel that I had booked, I was pretty much hitting her up the whole weekend, and the girl ain't come to the last minute. But you know what? I didn't trip. I didn't have my second trip. And that was really cool because it was like, not only is it just me experiencing it, but I'm experiencing I'm going through it with somebody that I'm building a bond with, but she's also like spiritually gifted as well. So it was pretty cool. And then we had like another, you know, kick a day or whatever, and we went to Canna Cafe, spent the weekend together or whatever. She slept over for a few days. But during that few days, like, it's kind of when I started getting the red flags from spirit. And it was just, it was weird because it was like, it's like she would turn the switch on when it was time to do work, and it was, you know, strictly positivity and all the right things to be said and stuff like that. But it's like, as soon as it's time to get done with readings, it's like the negativity switch got flipped on. I don't know. But it was crazy. Like, basically, like, I was like cleaning up behind her the whole time she was here, and it's like she wasn't really considerate of how she was in my space or anything like that. So it was a little weird. And then she ended up taking like a book of mine that I just bought, like a few spiritual tools that I had, even like a whole bag that I had for myself. Like, I don't know, y'all. Like, literally, y'all, like, I'm a whole new me now. Don't nobody be walking over me like that no more, okay? And then, like, it was another situation during that weekend where I don't know what happened. Like, I guess she didn't like that her client wasn't, like, listening to her reading or something like that. So she kind of flipped out on her in messages. And then, well, she approached her professionally, but then the girl kind of flipped on her. And she kind of got unprofessional and was like yelling in my house on live, and it was just crazy because like she was even showing my babies on the live video and just wasn't listening to me when I was trying to tell her to like keep my babies out the live. Like, it was just weird. Like, it was just weird because I don't know, like, usually I could be around people to where they not so deep in they emotions that they able to control themselves and just come back to like a calm space. And plus, like, I was just shocked just seeing that from, I don't know, somebody that I feel like I should have been looking up to. So after that, I thought that, you know, it'd be fun for us just to have another trip, just to lighten the mood. So we did. But when we went on our trip, I was having another spiritual experience. I was basically seeing hieroglyphics and like rune symbols all over my walls, and it's like I didn't see like the full body of issue, but it's like I seen like I wish I could show y'all this candle I got, but it's basically like, you know, the mask that he wears sometimes, like if you see him in different pictures or on candles or anything like that, like it's like I seen the outline of that on my wall. So many like situations with that shoe, I'm like, okay, I feel like he wants me to connect with him or something. But that's basically, yes, exactly what he wanted me to do. I just wasn't as aware as I was now back then, so I didn't know what was going on. But after she left for that little weekend, like, it was like even the energy in my room changed. Like, even just, it was like a weight was off my shoulder or something like that. But I don't know, but I just still gave her the benefit of the doubt and was ignoring the red flags and was like, okay, maybe I should just give her another chance, you know. I don't know. So midway through April, oh my God, y'all. So basically the 10+ year friends that I had since high school, like, all of them they just one by one just fell off. It fell out of my life. But let me explain. So so the spiritual reader was basically, she was, going through her work day, and she just needed somebody else to, finish up her finish up her day or whatever like that. So she just needed like 1 or 2 more clients or whatever. So she hit me up like, do you know anybody that might want a reading? So I'm like, yeah, let me, go ahead and send you her number and stuff so y'all can go ahead and chit chat and get that going. So of course me, like, I right off the bat, like, get them, connected and get their information to each other, because I don't want to invade nobody's privacy. Like, I'm not gonna ask my friend about her reading unless she approaches me and tells me about her reading. Like, even if we on the phone, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, like, what happened? What was said in your reading? Because that's, that's private information, and that's like directly from the ones above that watch over us. So that's a big thing. Like, that's, reading should be taken seriously. So I definitely didn't want to invade her space or anything like that. So, I just, minded my business while she got her reading. But of course, after her reading, she was not happy with it, because unfortunately she found out that her partner might have been, seeing other women behind her back. It was so crazy, y'all. Like, so after she told that information to me, and of course I waited until she approached me and she felt comfortable to tell me, I guess she decided to go and confront him about it. But instead of, listening to her friend's advice and just telling her that her intuition was giving her some doubts, some things that she needed to question or talk about or anything like that, she just went directly up to him and was like, I got a reading from a psychic. And it's like his first reaction kind of told her that it was true, but he decided to just go ahead and, go live on Facebook and, bash the reader, which was my friend at the time, and bash my other friend, which was just an innocent bystander just getting her reading. Me being the person I am and the overprotective person I am for my loved ones, like, sorry, hold on. But me being the person that I am, I'm like, okay, like, I can't just let him go on live and just, just do this and like drag my friend's name, who just did her job, who was just supposed to do a reading, and drag my friend, who was just humiliated at this point, yelling and crying on the phone with me. So I thought that I would be a good friend by going on Facebook and, defending her name and everything. So, unfortunately, no. That's not what friends do. I was not supposed to do that. So I kind of started getting heat from her sister, it was just crazy. Like, it was crazy. And I didn't understand it at all, because I'm like, I'm just trying to defend my friend. Like, why am I getting the heat because I'm trying to defend your sister? That's kind of like how I was looking at her sister. And then I was looking at my friend like, you just gonna let your sister go in on me and I just defended you? Like, I'm confused. But the girl who got the reading, like, she was basically like, I don't know, just basically acting like the reading brought bad energy into her life and stuff like that. And then the sister was acting like I was making fun of her sister on Facebook or something when I was trying to defend her. So she stopped being friends with me for that reason. And then my third friend, she just kind of like watched the conversation happen and listened to my side of the story and still took their side. So, and they ain't really been in contact with me. So, it is what it is. But I just looked at it like, okay, maybe those aren't the friends that's meant for me. Maybe those aren't the people that's meant to go on this journey with me. So literally everything that I lost, or I don't even see it as a loss. Like, I just see it as, it is what it was. It is what it is. After that, me and the spiritual reader, we decided to go to New York. And you know, the trip, it was paid for by her dude in New York or whatever like that. So you know, it was like we didn't really have to worry about anything except for just spending money when we went out there. So you know, I was very appreciative and very excited. So the day comes when it's time to, you know, go to New York, and of course we took the bus there, and I wasn't tripping at all because I'm just an adventurous person. Like I don't care where I'm going as long as I get there safely. So you know, we boarded the bus and everything, and well, first off, when we first get to the bus station, like she instantly comes in with attitude. Like it was attitude from the beginning all the way until we got to New York. So yes, it was pretty much just attitude until from the point we left Chicago until we got to New York. Me being me, like I don't like seeing people down, so you know, I was trying to cheer her up the whole time and like lighten up the mood, but it was like I don't know, but that's how she was from pretty much like the beginning of our really short friendship. Like if something didn't go her way, if something ruined her mood, anything like that, like everybody else's mood gotta be ruined. The day just it's gonna be shit. So yeah, I was just basically dealing with a lot of attitude and just like a lot of just I don't know, just a lot of standoffish attitude, and it was just weird because it's like, okay, like you stayed in New York for like a few years throughout your life, so it's like, you know the city, you know, like the attractions to go to, the events, the places to, you know, that I should probably see or anything like that. But literally, if it was me bringing somebody to New York and like I know the town, like I'm gonna make sure they have a good time. Like I'm not gonna let something that happened in my life affect they trip too, because it's like this your first time in New York. Like we got to do it up, like, you know, we got to have fun. So I was just shocked by that, like I really was, because it's like if he wasn't just gonna sit around somewhere and smoke, or if she wasn't gonna be in the dude face, then it just wasn't, I don't know, it's like she wasn't really up for nothing, or it wasn't like really any plans being made unless it was me thinking of something. The trip went sour on my end from that point, because it was like I was trying to be the positive person on this trip and like trying to, you know, bring the high energy and the high vibes for most of the trip, that I was just completely trained. I was completely drained by the end of the trip. I was pretty much irritated, but still at the same time, it takes a lot for me to go ahead and show my irritation, and for me to be rude towards people, for me to be disrespectful. Like it takes a lot for me to get to that point. You know, I'm just telling myself, like, you know, she'll be cool, you know, I don't know. I think it was, yeah, it was like the last day or something like that, and she was like, okay, her boyfriend or whatever was gonna come pick us up or whatever, and we was gonna like, well, I was told we was gonna go out, have fun or something like that, but let me tell y'all. So she like, you gonna be here soon, you gonna be here soon, and she kept saying it like every hour, and I'm like, okay, like, is he like up the street yet? Is he around the corner or anything? Because, you know, I'm a little hungry and I need to just go get something to eat real quick. Or do you think he could take us somewhere to get something to eat? And she like, no, don't worry about it. He's finna be pulling up soon. So, you know, another hour passed by and the guy finally pulls up. So when he pulls up, you know, we get in the back seat because he got his other friend in the car or whatever like that. And mind you, also earlier that morning, we was supposed to be leaving that day. But she said that, you know, he paid for the Airbnb for another day, so we couldn't leave or something like that. And she said that she called the bus terminal and it was okay for us to leave tomorrow. But something in my spirit was just telling me, like, I don't think that phone conversation was like, I don't know. I feel like you missed some information or something, but what? Like, if we miss the time of our departure, we can just show our ticket tomorrow and they'll let us get on another bus? Like, what? And plus, my spirit was just letting me know as well that that wasn't making sense. While we were in the car, it was music blasting the whole time, and we were pretty much in the car for like 2, almost 3 hours. And I was in that car at like begging her to please ask the dude to stop somewhere so I could get something to eat. Like, I wasn't trying to stop no plans or nothing. Like, I literally just needed to get something to eat because I was gonna fall out in the back seat. She's just sitting there, just not really saying nothing to him. Not like, yeah, just not really caring. So at that point, like, I didn't even realize it, but my intuition was speaking to me. Something just told me to text my mom and to tell her to please call the bus station because I just got a feeling that, you know, things ain't going right. And it was just crazy because after, like, the first time I asked her, like, you sure it's gonna be okay if we just go tomorrow and, you know, show our ticket? And she was like, yeah, don't worry about it. And I was like, you sure? And then, like, when I asked that a second time, like, she popped off like, yeah, I said it. So I'm like, you know what? Like, you know what? I can't deal with no more attitude. So let me just text my mom on the slide and just ask her to just check up on things for me. So she does. Mama comes too. Mama comes too for you, girl. So she calls the bus station, and lo and behold, if my mom didn't call at that exact time, when she did, like, we would have been having to pay for a whole nother trip to Chicago, and it would have been like 2-3 something. I don't know what it is with people that's stuck in illusion, and I think that even her as a spiritual reader, she was still stuck in illusion because, like, her main thing was just talking about how much money she had and proving her point of how much money she has and stuff like that. So once I brought it to her, it's like she was like trying to come at me like, oh, you can't afford a whole nother ticket and I'll be good and da da da. But it was like, girl, like, let's be considerate here. Like, I wouldn't just assume that we're gonna have a ride home without making sure we're gonna have a ride home and just assume that you got a whole nother $200-300 to spend. Like, I'm not that type of person. It was just shocking to me that she was just sitting there like, okay, like, but it wasn't even like, and it wasn't even the case like, oh, I got it, I'm good, da 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 da. No, you have a dude that's paying for everything for you. Like, that's great, but like, what? Like that, like, she basically was just like, oh, you tripping for no reason and stuff like that. At least we going home and da 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 da. Yeah, but if my mom didn't, you know, check up, or if I didn't, you know, check up on anything, like, we wasn't gonna have a way home. Period. I mean, you would have had a way home. I mean, I would have had a way home, yeah, but I would have been pissed on the way home. That was like once I started to feel like my energy just being drained, like, from the whole trip, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, and even like after I talked to her about it, and I was trying to talk to her, like, I was like giggling through talking about the situation, stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm really mad. Like, why am I doing this? And it's like she was still giving me attitude. So at that point, I'm like, all right, fine, I get attitude back. She was pretty much just ignoring me for the rest of the car ride because I said something about our tickets home. And it ain't even like I approached her with disrespect or anything like that. So I was just like, wow, okay. Well, of course, I was still in the car, just ready to faint, starving. And I'm like, can we please stop somewhere or something like that? So he stops at a pizza place. And me not knowing how food is in New York, I didn't know that the pizza is completely different from how it is out here in Chicago. So fortunately, I'm a picky person and I didn't want the pizza. So I just hopped right back in the car and I was like, you know, it's cool. Like, I don't want to have to tell him go nowhere else. And it already took a lot for me to even get here. So I get back in the car or whatever, and he gets a whole attitude just because I didn't buy anything. Like, I didn't ask you to... I ain't asked you to go nowhere else or nothing, so I'm confused. Like, why you so mad? But he ends up leaving there and stops at McDonald's to get him something to eat. So, of course, my hungry ass, I'm about to fly up to the front seat. I'm like, ooh, can you please get me something from here? Like, everybody in the car just give me attitude. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, just because I want something to eat, like, I ain't said 2 words to y'all barely this whole, like, I'm confused. He ended up paying for my food or whatever like that, which I didn't ask him to. I was trying to pass him my money to pay for my food, but he had an attitude about that too. After I said thank you and I appreciate it, like he didn't say nothing back. So I'm like, damn, like this is weird as hell. And she just letting, just letting him have attitude with me like that. I'm like, you know what, whatever. I'ma just play it cool till it's time to go back to the Airbnb. Tomorrow we're going home. It's whatever. Instead of going somewhere or whatever, like she said, we just literally rode around in the car for 3 hours, and it was horrible. Like we in New York and we just in the car. Yeah, so they ended up going to his apartment, and I was just dreading that because it's like we wasn't gonna do nothing but just sit there and watch him smoke. So it was like, oh my god, like we could be experiencing New York right now. So I was just like, you know what, forget that. I got family in New York. I'm gonna go ahead and go where I'll be wanted, where I'll be comfortable, where I'll be not ignored. Like, and that was the weird thing too. Like, I would be talking to her, even if it's just me and her in the Airbnb, and she would just be ignoring me, like in her phone most of the time, or just, I don't know. Like, and I understand you have moments like that where you just, daydreaming to somewhere out of space or ain't listening to somebody, but every time I talk, I get a response back, or I just don't get a response back. Like, that's weird. We just came all the way out here to New York for awkward energy. I was just feeling horrible after that. Like, I was literally in tears because I just felt like I was just unwanted. Like, I was just the oddball just out there in New York. I ended up calling my cousin. My cousin ended up coming to, well, no, he got me an Uber over to his place, and him and his fiance took me out on the town in Harlem. And oh my god, let me just get him a shout out right now because I love y'all so much. Thank y'all. I will forever remember my trip to New York, especially that moment with y'all, because y'all literally saved me and made my trip. Like, I needed. Went out, had some drinks, like ate some good food, like walked around Harlem and stuff like that, chatted all night. It was lit. But going back to the Airbnb, a little lit, but I was not sloppy drunk. Basically, the girl tried to say that I was sloppy drunk, y'all. And it's just so crazy because I remember the night vividly. I remember coming through, opening the front door to the Airbnb, my whole little walk to my bed. When I came back into the Airbnb, like, I don't like holding grudges with nobody. I don't like having problems with nobody. So I was feeling good. I had a good night. And I'm like, oh my God, friend. As soon as I came in, she was standing there. So I just picked her up, gave her a hug. And when I picked her up and gave her a hug and I opened my eyes, I realized she was in the towel and she had nothing else. I'm like, dang, what you trying to do? But I said it like that because, like, you've been messing around with your dip while we've been out here. So, like, I'm only cracking the joke because of that reason. Like, like being funny or whatever, not actually flirting with the girl or nothing like that, or even touching the girl. Like, y'all, put her down or whatever. This girl, she goes to just, open up her bath towel, and I'm like, what the heck? So I run out the room, and plus I'm tipsy or whatever, so I'm goofy while I'm running out. I'm like, oh my God. Hurry up and go jump on my bed or whatever like that. I don't know, it was weird. Like, I didn't say anything sexually towards you or nothing like that, or like, really, like, what? Y'all, basically she was trying to make it seem like I was trying to like make sexual advances at her and stuff like that, and it was just like, I'm confused. I was kind of skipping stuff, but I'm gonna get back to that part. Let me tell y'all. She was like making little comments like, oh yeah, like, and she had like, I don't know if she had like I don't know, something was going on with her throat while we was out there. So I was like making tea for her and stuff like that and all of that. I don't know. I don't know what she thought from that little pickup hug that I did, but it wasn't sexual in no type of way or nothing like that. Like, so the comment that she made, like, after I picked her up was like, oh yeah, I'll, do a favor for you, but, well, you could do a favor for me, but I can't do a favor for you because my throat is messed up or something. And then I started cracking up because I'm like, what are we talking about? Like, No, like, had a conversation there, and she was like venting to me about her past relationship, friendships, and stuff like that. And she opened up and told me that she was sexual with her past friends, but it's like, no, not over here. Like, no, I rather keep my friends my friends. Like, and if I like, no, like, I've been open enough to change my life and like go into spirituality. Like, if I really wanted to open up and I was really interested in women, I wouldn't stop myself. Like, why would I want to live as something that I'm not? But I'm not going, what? Like, you're not going to try and paint me as something or somebody who's interested in something that I'm not. Like, then the next morning came, and well, no, actually just going to sleep in the bed that night. Like, I was just thinking hard, like, wow, like, this girl really think I would, like, that would happen after what you just did to me today? Like, next morning, we hurry up getting our stuff together, and we hurrying up and going to the train or whatever like that. I mean, the bus station. Mind you, before we wanted to get on the bus or whatever like that, I just wanted to run across the street to find a store or something like that, just so I could grab some snacks while we, getting on the bus. So instead of her coming with me, of course, to find a store, because I'm not familiar with New York, she goes into the bus station as I'm crossing the street, and I'm thinking she's like following me because I'm letting her know, like, okay, come on, let's go find a store real quick so I could, like, she completely dips and just goes in the bus station, and I just gotta hurry up and look for a store on my own. So luckily it was one right across the street, and I hurry up grabbing things that I need, and I'm headed to the bus station. To the bus station, getting inside of it, I'm like, okay, I don't even know what gate and this and that and all of that. So I call her and I'm like, can you give me directions while I'm trying to hurry up and get there so I can get down there? And it's like her mind just went blank. Like, what? Like, you at the gate. You just walked to the gate. Why can't you tell me directions to the gate? So it was just wild, because it was like as if she was trying to like stop me from getting on the bus or something. It was just so weird, y'all. So I get to the gate, and I needed to ask about something. It was something that I was curious about. And it was a employee that was like standing near me or whatever like that. So I asked him the question and stuff like that. He's talking to me and all of that and just giving me information. I just wanted to ask him a simple question, but she basically like shut the man up and was like, sir, we got it, don't worry about it. Like, I think she was just irritated by my energy, just irritated that I was still trying to be positive while she was still in a funk. From what, I don't know. He was talking to me like, it's cool, like, I mean, all right. But he felt the energy too, because he was like, dang, okay, let me step back. But I stood right next to her in line or whatever like that, and I asked her a question, and she was in her phone. She didn't hear me, so I was like, nothing, it's okay. And then she was like, oh, and then while I was in my phone, like, trying to get the tickets or whatever pulled up, for my email and stuff like that, like, she's literally in my ear, like, the dude coming over here, like, can you hurry up and get the tickets together? Like, can you just send me my ticket and da 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 da. But literally, while she's saying that to me, the man is already in my face, and he's like, okay, tickets. So I'm just like, you know what? Instead of just wasting time, to just go ahead and send it to her, which it don't take that much time, but still, like, the man's right here in my face. I might as well just show him your ticket, like, he right next to me. So that's what I did, and I showed hers first, so she could just go ahead and get her spot on the bus. Like, I wasn't ignoring her or nothing. I was literally letting her know, like, hold on, I'm trying to get to him in my phone. And I was talking to him at the same time. I was trying to talk to him while she was, like, nagging in my ear. And I just went ahead and showed him the ticket. And she just, right off the bat, just popped off. And I'm like... I'm like, you got entry into the bus. I'm confused. Like, I showed your ticket first. You act like I showed mine, got on the bus, and then, like, after that, she just got the flipping off at the mouth and da 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 da. And at that point, I just thought it was funny. Like, I'm like, this girl, like, I'm like, this is mind blowing. Like, I didn't expect this at all. We get on the bus, and she just got a full out attitude from that point on. Like, It was just crazy. Like, once we got on the bus, and I didn't even know at first. Like, she got to sneak dissing me on Facebook, Snapchat, this and that. So I'm like, dang, like, and I didn't even know about it until I went on Facebook, and it was like a few hours later, and I'm like, damn, this is about me. I didn't feel no need to go on to bring the situation to Facebook or Snapchat, nothing like that, because it's like, I mean, I didn't do nothing wrong. Like, all I did was go somewhere where I was safe with family, where I felt wanted, where, like, I wasn't being ignored, I wasn't being looked over. Like, you brought me all the way out to New York just to do me dirty, like, and you're mad? Like, it wasn't making clear. Like, she was just harassing me, like, the whole bus ride. The whole bus ride from New York to Chicago, y'all. Like, literally, the girl was on the bus yelling at me and stuff. And it was just so crazy because the bus had to get stopped like 2 or 3 times because of her, and they kept threatening to kick me off. Like, so that's how I knew. Like, I'm like, this is wild. Like, this gotta be a test. This has to be a test, because I literally had nobody on my side. Like, it was just irritating because it was like, I'm not the type of person that wants to be violent or resort to violence, but it's like, I'd rather just, like, can you swing or something at this point? Like, you just keep, I don't know, it was weird. It was so weird. Really, every time the girl would get up, go to the bathroom on the bus or something, she had to say something to me. Even just walking past, she had to look at me. She had to give me a dirty look or something. Like, how are you keeping this up the whole ride from New York to Chicago? Like, the immaturity for me was just, it was, man, it was crazy. It was just her harassing and taunting and stuff like that until we got to Chicago, and nothing happened. Like, she was literally just trying to drain my energy the whole time. And it was crazy because I didn't know that until someone that's actually personally close to her, that's blood related to her, called me while we were on the bus, and she's like, look, you need to get far away from her. I don't know what's going on, but she making allegations saying that you tried to touch her in a sexual way and this and that. Like the girl was literally saying anything just to paint me as a bad person when I didn't do nothing. Like, I'm like, this is wild. So that's how I knew, like, it had to be, it wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. Like, because I'm like, I don't know why, like, I'm getting this girl so riled up and they ain't do nothing to the girl. Like, but still, it's like you putting all this energy into harassing me and all of that, but it's like, where is this getting you? Like, I don't know. And I was just shocked that it was all coming from a spiritual reader. Like, and plus, like, the fact that she had a big following too, it was like, it was easy for people just to, oh, like, like, just to go ahead and side with her side. And that was the sick part, because at that point, I just dusted my hands with her, and I just promised myself to pay attention to the red flags from now on. But basically, that whole New York trip, that was an awakening, because literally after that, like, I was so down because I was like, what the heck? Like, I don't know. Like, I really tried to start a firm foundation as a friendship with somebody, and, like, be a caring person. That's how I always been, though. Like, friends, family, lover, no matter who it is, I'm just that loving person. So it's like, why don't I get the same in return? And it's like, I was even asking spirit for a spiritual friend, and I finally got it, and it was like, wow, it wasn't exactly what I thought. So I feel like, you know, that was a part of my test too, to, like, not be so focused on, you know, other things that can make me happy when I could just make me happy, when I should just be happy with just having myself in spirit. Just by being who I am genuinely and just being a genuine person, like, I passed the test. Like, right after that New York trip, like, that was my awakening. Like, I was definitely in a point to where I was, like, slipping into, like, feeling down after that trip, but I quickly woke myself up, like, no, like, this happened for a reason. Like, And plus, like, throughout that whole trip, like, she was telling me, like, oh, you're powerful. Like, you don't know how powerful you are and this and that. So I'm like, wow, like, you were high-key just trying to drain my energy the whole time. We was, like, kicking it. Like, that's sick. That's sick as hell. After that, I just did more shadow work, studied my birth chart. And that's really what caused the awakening, studying my birth chart. Because it's like, I found my purpose at that point. Like, my birth chart just pretty much tells me that I'm supposed to be working in occult studies, metaphysical things. Like, this is my purpose right here. So I was thrilled about that. It was a big wake-up call after just a big obstacle. But then May came around and, you know, it was a big transformation. Basically that whole situation like awakened my spiritual gifts, and I became aware of it. Started doing readings, started getting attention from my readings. The reader also, you know, ended up messaging me like, I don't know exactly when it was in May, but she ended up messaging me and saying how proud of me she was and da 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 da, da. Like, block. No, like that. She even asked me what I'm doing. Like, yeah, none of your business. So really just saying that just to let y'all know, like, man, like people will literally act like they got good intentions and put on a certain facade just to, you know, seem like they something. But I'm telling you, like, once you tap into your intuition, you ask spirit to show you who's meant to be in your life and who's not meant to be there, spirit is gonna show you. But yeah, so I just recently started doing readings and everything in May. And how I realized that my spiritual gifts were awakened is basically like just getting deeper in tune with meditation. Finally, I mean, I've always been in contact with my spirit guides, but it was just more like the connection was stronger now. And my third eye was open at this point, and yeah, it's like I was just seeing the world differently, like experiencing it differently. In the beginning of May, like I was just giving myself, you know, personal readings and things like that. I'm like, okay, like I'm liking the feelings that I'm getting from doing readings and doing my, you know, doing my own readings and stuff. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should try and offer it to other people. So I started off with close family and close friends. Those readings were accurate, and then literally every other reading after that was accurate. So I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm not just, it was just mind-blowing to me. It was mind-blowing. Like, I'm just forever grateful, because I literally used to watch Queen's Domain and other spiritual readers, and I used to just watch their videos like from morning to dark, just probably like all night, just wouldn't be sleeping, just watching readings. And I'd be like, man, like that's the coolest job to have. Like I'd do anything to have that job. And I was like, wow, spirit blessed me with that job. So it's pretty cool, you know. But I started getting attention from my readings, good and bad. Definitely the good, you know, people, you know, give me feedback on my reasons and things like that. And also bad attention, just people just, you know, still just stuck in the illusion and just not ready to accept change or even change in other people's life. But it's like, if other people doing what makes them happy in their life, how about you do what makes you happy and just don't worry about what they doing. Also, with me being tapped in with my spiritual gifts, you know, I just had to be more aware of the people that I had around me, the people I let come in contact with my energy. So I'm just more aware of that now. And the reason why I felt so compelled to just go ahead and make my first YouTube video is because basically at the point in time I'm at right now, I'm still in a place that I just can't completely heal in, because it's the same place that broke me. So it's like, and I'm around the same people that broke me. So it's like, spirit is definitely trying to push me to a new place and trying to push me to a bigger platform and trying to push me to have more clients, and definitely trying to push me to more souls that need me. And currently, right now, you know, I'm just being judged for my beliefs, being judged for the way I am, the way I'm moving. I'm definitely still going. Like, I came so far. Like, I'm so happy. I never been this happy before, ever. So it's like, why would I stop doing what makes me happy just because you don't like what I'm doing? So currently, where I'm at, um, I have only a little bit of time to find me somewhere else to go because unfortunately I can't stay here anymore because of my beliefs, because of the job that I'm doing now. And yeah, it's just not accepted here. So I completely accept that. I'm completely okay with that. I just see it as spirit just pushing me into, you know, new beginnings and where I'm meant to be. I was definitely down for a little bit after, you know, I got the news, and after Spirit let me even hear the phone call of family members trying to get me kicked out. So it worked. Let me stop. It was definitely hurtful, but with the help of my spirit team, like, I'm always able to heal myself and pick myself back up. I can't let other people's opinions and how they feel about my beliefs stop me from helping other people and from doing what makes me happy. That's basically why I decided to make this first video. So this is basically my message to, like, the ones who aren't unaware. This is your time, like, to just heal yourself, love yourself differently, love the people around you differently, appreciate this universe more, like, just look at life differently. But this is your wake-up call, period. Like, if you stumbled upon this video, it was meant for you to see. For the chosen ones, like, stay strong, because I know, like, and it's so hard, even for the people that you probably don't even realize what your purpose is yet, or if you're supposed to be doing light work. But if you're just one of those people that gives all the love in the world and, you know, tries to be there for people and, you know, tries to give positivity all the time, and you're just not getting it back in return, then I know that's like fucked up, but unfortunately that's just how it is for the chosen ones. Because it's like, I don't know, it's like a lot of people see that light inside of us and they get intimidated. They think they need to dim it or steal it or something, when all you have to do is just talk to me and I can show you how to get your light going. I just basically wanted to get my story out, just to, you know, give y'all a little intro to me before I go deeper into my channel. And I also want to let y'all know that spirituality is not a trend. African spirituality is our roots, it's our truth, it's our original way of living. So if you are definitely interested, then I would definitely say, like, look at your lineage first. Like, even get you a DNA test done or something, just to look more into your roots. Like, that's how it started for me, just looking deeper into my family, and, you know, just calming your mind as well. Like, if you're somebody that's going through something, or you just, even your mind gets clouded with thoughts, like, go to meditation, find other ways of coping. Once I switched over to spirituality, like, every day has been magical, and it has been obstacles and challenges, but it's like just the feeling I get just thinking about my future and thinking about how much I help others. Like, it's just fulfilling, like, that, just period. Like, that's enough for me. If you are thinking about it, like, don't just, you know, definitely, you know, if you want to watch readings, look at it. But a lot of people, like, they see me with my cards and my tools that I use for divination and giving messages, and they just, like, right off the bat, like, oh, teach me. But I really want y'all, like, I would love to teach all of y'all. Like, I want my clients to be on the same journey as me. Like, I want y'all to be, we all gifted, but, like, literally, it's important for you to learn about your history, learn about African spirituality, learn about ancestors, your family roots. Like, all of that is important before diving in. So don't just look at spirituality as a profit, or don't just look at it for trying to get profit off of readings. Like, really do it for yourself. for you to grow internally and externally. Your purpose shouldn't be for profit, but to help others. You know, for anyone that's unaware of what spirituality can bring to your life, self-study. Like, don't just listen to other readers and never other spiritualists, and don't just wait on the video. Like, self-study, look for the information yourself, trust yourself before anyone else. But literally, like, that's the only way that you're gonna dive deep, that you're gonna learn yourself from the inside out, that you're gonna learn spirituality the way you should, is by self-studying, being in solitude, and like really just allowing your mind to just explore. And we are literally in the midst of a spiritual war, so it's just time to rise. And it's so crazy because I know a lot of y'all probably looking like, why is this girl so comfortable? It's her first YouTube video. Like, I feel like I done did this already. And I didn't start feeling like that until like 2 weeks ago. Like, I don't know, I just feel like the energy is different. I feel like the connection is stronger. I feel like the ones that's watching over us is just so much closer than they were before. Like, I don't know, I just feel like things are definitely finna start. Things are definitely finna start getting real. Always try to stay positive and just be the best version of yourself. And I know, especially the chosen ones and the ones that's trying to, you know, walk into that path and be the best version of yourself. It could be so hard, especially living in this world and just the society that we gotta deal with every day. But just remember your mission, remember your goal, remember what you came here to do, and everything will just fall into place from there. Thank y'all for watching.